For the first time in almost 10 years, the World Pool Association, or WPA, has updated the official rules of pool. These rules will also soon be published by the Billiard Congress of America, or the BCA. Links to the new rules and regulations can be found below in the video description or pinned comment. If you are not familiar with the WPA World Standardized Rules, check out the videos and links on the Rules resource page. Also linked below is a one-page document that concisely summarizes all the important changes. In this video, I discuss and demonstrate each of these updates. The first set of changes deals with proper use of equipment. In the past, you were not allowed to lay your cue on the table without having at least one hand in contact. This rule has now been relaxed. If you need to tie a shoe, there is nothing wrong with leaving the cue on the table. And if you are aiming or aligning a shot, there is nothing wrong with releasing the cue. The new rules now explicitly allow you to use your cue in any part of your body to aim and plan shots. For example, when using the mirror system to aim kick shots, you are allowed to use your cue to measure the distance. You can also use your cue to visualize a shot line. You can also use your hand to measure distances, for example when using the contact point mirror system. Alternatively, you can use your cue for this purpose. Links to all aiming systems used in the video can be found below. You can also use your cue to help aim cut shots. Although you are not allowed to mark the cloth, so be careful if using this approach. You are allowed to use your cue or any part of your body to aim shots, but you are not allowed to use anything else. For example, it is illegal to place a chalk on the rail as an aiming target. When using a mechanical bridge, the rules now make it clear that the cue must be supported by the head of the bridge. You are not allowed to use a hand bridge on top like this. You are also not allowed to support a hand bridge on the handle of the mechanical bridge. Again, the cue must be supported on the head of the mechanical bridge as intended. You are allowed to use two mechanical bridges, but the second bridge must be supported by the head of the first bridge, and the cue must be supported by the head of the second bridge. There are several rule clarifications concerning balls settling at the end of a shot. If a ball comes to rest close to the edge of a pocket, you must wait 5 seconds before shooting the next shot. If the ball falls during these 5 seconds, it is considered pocketed. If the ball falls after the 5 seconds, it must be replaced as close as possible to the original location. Because I am corner hooked by the point of the pocket, I could attempt a masse shot. Well, I probably deserved that foul for carelessly almost scratching on the previous shot. A better option would have been a 2-rail kick using the contact point mirror and equal distance systems linked below. Another ball settling issue that can come up is balls supported by other balls in a pocket opening. The rules now clearly state that if a ball is supported beyond the edge of a pocket, where it would fall into the pocket if supporting balls were removed, the ball should be pocketed. Here's another example where because there are so many balls in the pocket already, the 8 is being supported. But again, if the ball is hanging over the edge of the pocket and drops when supported balls are removed, the ball is considered pocketed. Obviously, balls should not be allowed to stack this high in a pocket. But if it happens, it is now clear what to do. Some clarifications have also been added to the 8-ball rules section, mostly dealing with odd situations when the table is open. Here's an example ball layout after a break where 4 solids were pocketed. The table is open and I decide to shoot the 5 in the side. Unfortunately, I scratched and the table is still open. My opponent is not very smart and chooses a suboptimal cue ball position with ball in hand, shooting at the 2. My opponent is also not very good, missing the ball and scratching. Let's assume my opponent pocketed the 2 while scratching. The table is still open. There are no solids remaining, but I can now shoot at the 8 to claim the solids and win the game. This situation was not covered in the previous version of the rules. The new rules make it crystal clear that if a foul call is uncertain, the benefit of the doubt always goes to the shooter. One example where this comes up is in determining whether a legal ball is hit first when there is a nearby obstacle ball. Let's start with an excerpt from my Everything You Need to Know About Fouls video explaining the basics of how a call like this is made properly. Here, shooting solids, I need to narrowly miss the 13 to pocket the 8 for the win. If I hit the 13 first, this shot is a foul. With a shot like this, it can be extremely difficult to see visually which ball is hit first. But if you understand how the cue ball should react, it is easy to detect a wrong ball first foul. If I hit the 8 first, the cue ball will come off the tangent line of the 13 and head this way. And if I instead hit the 13 first, which would be a foul, the cue ball would come off the tangent line of the 8 in this direction. That's how you detect a foul here, by watching which way the cue ball heads. Did you see the dramatic difference in cue ball motion between the legal hit and foul? But what if the balls are like this, where the ball lines are perpendicular relative to a split hit cue ball position? With a legal hit of the 8 first, the cue ball stops in place. And with an illegal hit of the 13 first, the cue ball also stops in place. Obviously, if you didn't have slow motion video replay, it would be extremely difficult to tell for certain which ball was hit first. In situations like this, it must be assumed that the 8 was hit first legally. And even when slow motion replay is available, it still might be impossible to tell which ball was hit first, since a lot can happen between available video frames. Again, if it is not certain an illegal ball is hit first, the benefit of the doubt goes to the shooter and a legal shot is assumed. Another situation where the benefit of the doubt goes to the shooter is when the cue ball hits an object ball and cushion at about the same time, and it is not clear if something is driven to a rail after ball contact. Here's a good example from my UK Open Foul video where SVB is kicking softly at the 3 to not leave a good shot for FSR.
Foul stroke.
Oh, yes.
No comment.
Try to play the role of the ref here and tell me if you think this shot is a foul or not. Here it is again in super slow motion. This was a ball first hit, so it is legal since something is driven to a cushion after ball contact. Here's another example with a cushion first hit, but this shot is also legal because the cue ball hit the cushion again after hitting the 3. Referees usually do not have the benefit of super slow motion video replay, and they often need to make calls live in front of large audiences, so their job is not always as easy as some people might think. However, when there is no clear evidence of a foul, the benefit of the doubt should go to the shooter. Hopefully, the clarity in the new rules will help prevent this sort of thing in the future. Another type of shot where clarifications were added to the rules are unintentional miscue scoops, where the cue ball leaves the playing surface. The main purpose for the scoop rule is to prevent shots like this, where there is clear intent to illegally scoop under the cue ball to easily clear an obstacle ball. But when a scoop is the result of an unintentional miscue during an attempted draw shot, the new rules specifically make it clear that these shots are not fouls, unless there is some other infraction. Here are two examples from my Bad Calls video where the wrong call was made, partly because the previous rules were not totally clear on this matter. Here are the two shots, both of which were called fouls.
Foul.
With both shots, the legal ball was hit first and something was driven to a cushion after ball contact, so the shots should not have been called fouls. Again, hopefully the clarity of the new rules prevents bad calls like this in the future. In the previous rules, there was a regulation that allowed cue ball fouls only rules when referees were not available. This is common in league systems where players are not penalized for touching or moving an object ball by mistake before, during, or after a shot. In these leagues, the opponent has the option to return moved balls to their previous locations after the inadvertent moves. Cue ball fouls only is no longer an option in the new WPA official rules of pool. Therefore, except when you have ball in hand where you are allowed to place the cue ball without touching any other balls, you are never allowed to touch or move any ball with anything except the cue tip with a single hit during a legal shot. For example, here I let my shirt touch the 13 ball during the shot. I made the ball move slightly with this touch, but even if the ball had remained perfectly still, the touch would still be a foul. And if you have big or long hair, you also need to be careful your hair doesn't touch any ball. This would be a foul whether or not the hair moved the ball. Anytime a ball is moved before a shot, intentionally or not, it is a foul. It is also a foul if a ball is touched or moved during a shot. You might think the game ended when the 8 was pocketed, but a shot is not over until all balls come to rest. Because the cue ball was still moving when the 13 was touched, this shot is a foul. And under 8-ball rules, if you foul while pocketing the 8 ball, you lose the game. I know this might sound harsh to league players out there, but the official rules are the official rules. In general, league systems should follow the official rules of pool, but this is one rule they might find challenging to embrace. Two changes have been made to 9-ball break rules. Traditionally, the rack of balls is placed with the 1 on the spot. This is still allowed in tournaments that choose traditional racking, but the new standard rack is with the 9 on the spot. Here's an excerpt from my 9-ball break strategy video explaining why the change was made. Generally, as shown here, the goal on a standard 9-ball break is to pocket the wing ball and get a shot at the 1 after the break. To make a wing ball, a good plan is to break from the side with the square hit, so you can also control the cue ball. And with the right speed, it is easy to get a look at the 1 in the upper corner after the break. Because it is too easy to pocket the wing ball and get a good look at the 1 with a tight rack with the 1 on the spot, most recent tournaments have required the 9 to be racked on the spot instead. Obviously, with a square hit, the wing ball goes way above the corner. The best strategy with the 9 on the spot is to pocket the 1 in the side. With a cut break over a fairly wide range of angles, the 1 goes. However, it is much more difficult to control the cue ball and guarantee a shot at the next ball after the break. Another break rule that was changed slightly concerns the 3-ball rule, requiring that at least 3 object balls either be pocketed or pass the head string. The previous rules required that a ball simply touch the head string, but now the center or resting point of the object ball must go beyond the line. For example, here the 1 has touched the line, but it has not gone beyond it. The center of the 2 has gone beyond the line, even though the ball is still touching it. Here are some 3-ball rule examples from my 9-ball break strategy video. Even though I pocketed 2 balls on this break, I did not satisfy the 3-ball rule. One 10-ball rule that needed clarification in the previous rules concerned a called safety. There was much confusion about this in the previous rules. You can play defensive shots in 10-ball, but there is no safety call like in 8-ball, where you can call a safety and force your opponent to shoot next even if you pocket the legal ball. Again, this is not an option in 10-ball. Here's an example safety. Whether or not I was calling the 1 because I missed, it is now my opponent's shot. Even though I left a fairly easy jump combo on the 1-3, my opponent still needs to work hard to control the table. Here, I am attempting to play a safety by hiding the 1 from the cue ball, but I can't call a safety to force my opponent to shoot next. In 10-ball, when you don't pocket a called ball and pocket something else by mistake, your opponent has the option to shoot or have you remain at the table. If my opponent is not confident to pocket the 1 with a jump shot, he or she would probably force me to shoot next. Here's another example where I think I am being smart with a no call, hoping to break out the 5-7 cluster without pocketing the 1 and leaving my opponent in trouble. Well, if I hadn't pocketed the 1, that might have been an effective safety, but I did pocket the 1. Because I intended to play a safety with no call, my opponent has the option to shoot at the 2 or force me to shoot. A big addition are new rules for 1-pocket and bank pool. This is important because previously there were no official rules for these games to guide tournament officials and players. Now there are official rules to which everybody can refer. There are also new regulations providing guidance on how to run doubles tournaments, how to deal with racking issues, and how players assume the role of referee when one is not present. If you want to learn more about the new WPA official rules of pool, check out the links in the video description or pinned comment, especially the videos and info at the Pool Rules and Fouls resource pages. I hope you agree that all the changes made by the WPA are welcomed improvements and additions. Good luck with your game from Dr. Dave.